Good afternoon. We are live back with HireMilitary on the LinkedIn page. If you're on the Facebook page, come over to LinkedIn, check it out. We're also on the YouTube channel. I'm Matt Quick, the HireMilitary Director of Training and Development, and today is Wednesday. And Wednesday, we try to bring on a military spouse to talk about how their service was because they're part of the military family too. So today, we're bringing on Karen Lee Benton. So welcome, Karen.
Hello.
For those who don't know, on my personal page on Wednesdays, I spotlight a military spouse, put the resume up and the profile, and we try to make connections with employers, recruiters, HR. This morning we put up Karen's resume, and it's got like 8,000 views already. Karen, is it working?
It is so much. The power of network it's awesome. I have no words. I was ecstatic when I first saw a pop-up on my phone and I'm supposed to be studying right now for something, and I spent all day just responding to connections and engaging on the post. It's just awesome. It's so awesome. Thank you so much.
Did you get a lot of connection requests today? A lot of messages?
I did. And I got some, follow-ups that I have to do. I, made my list of things I need to follow up on, and I had some great things, some great things.
And that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link right now and paste it for those to check it out. So now you'll be on the LinkedIn live feed with it. So you'll become even more famous. And by the end of this, you'll have a big fan club.
Woo.
So Karen, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your adventures. What brought you to the military, how long you've been in the military with your husband, and tell us about yourself.
I am Karen Lee Benton. I can go by Karen. I've been a military spouse for about 7 years now.
Okay.
Been a veteran military spouse for a year now.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And he's just as happy and ecstatic with his civilian job. I grew up in a military town. I grew up where there were 5 services of the military, and it is a blessing, I would say, that I was able to travel with my husband. I PCS'd once, so I moved once with him as active duty, but we've also moved 3 times in 10 months as a retiree.
Wait, you've moved more since retiring than active duty. Wow.
Yes. When he got his civilian job last summer, it was a move for us, and then they moved him down to another location, and then they thought during the pandemic, let's move you back. So we're back up here in Charlotte, and we're hoping to leave roots here. We love Charlotte. It's been great. Weather's been something to get used to, but I love it here.
Definitely is. Mm-hmm. Well, it's a queen city for a reason. So where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Hawaii.
So born and raised in Hawaii.
Born and raised in Hawaii.
So you met your husband there.
Met him there. He was stationed at Pearl Harbor for about 8 years, and we met there, and I thought, great, that means I'm moving somewhere.
Just once.
So we moved, like I said, we did one PCS together, and when we PCS to Jacksonville, he had 3 years left to his 20-year mark, and we started a family, and he's like, I don't want to deploy anymore. He could have stayed on for another few more years, but he thought, I have a young family. I don't want to go anywhere. So he put in his paperwork, crossing his fingers. Hopefully they'll accept the retirement, because he's heard some stories that they have not accepted.
Sometimes they don't. If you're essential, they may won't. They hold off for a year. So you're born and raised in Hawaii, and you left the island. The people that we love going there on vacation. You're just leaving there. Willingly.
I am. And it is unfortunate, but we have not gone back since. We've left there December 31st of 2015. We left Hawaii, and we have not been back. We were supposed to go back this year, but
COVID.
Things change. So fortunately, we did not have to put anything down financial wise. So we are planning our trip back to my home within the next couple of years, hopefully after everything kind of clears up.
Calm down. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you're watching this right now on LinkedIn or Facebook, come to LinkedIn. But if you want to ask Karen a question or myself, just put it in the comments. I'll be reading them as we go. As Karen talks, I'll read them, and I may interrupt for a conversation. So So what did you do prior to meeting your husband professionally, and what do you do now?
My career has been in HR. I fell in love with the field when I was in college, and my college counselor suggested I take a few courses in HR, and that stuck with me. So I've been in HR. I've done everything from recruiting, benefits compensation. I've also done employee relations, labor relations, which is always fun. And I've done a wide range of things. I've worked for companies large and small, anywhere from 2,200 plus, crossing over different islands, Guam, Saipan, California. That's when I worked in Hawaii. And then I worked for small companies, like small manufacturing companies in Jacksonville. So I've worked all over. My passion is HR, and I really, really enjoy the employee relations of it, and process improvements, continuous improvements, and everything that we learn, everything that we do, there's always not necessarily a better way, but there's more of a creative way, I like to say. Not better, just more creative way of doing things.
Like that word, creative word, it's better.
Exactly. And my passion is just in HR right now, because of the move that we've been going through, and just settling down. I am currently in transition, as they say, and I am looking for work. I'm looking for opportunities in generally a generalist position, possibly a business partner, possibly something higher. I'd like to grow with a company. I'd like to see a company grow. I'd like to grow with that company, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm currently studying for my senior professional in HR, my SPHR exam. Hopefully I will take it next month, crossing my fingers and toes that I will pass.
We'll cross them for you too, all right?
Thank you. And also I'm not too proud to say that this will be my third time taking it. So those of you who have taken it before or are afraid to take it, it's okay. It's okay. Just, take a step back and study again. That's the only solution I could say. The only suggestion.
So this is your third attempt. At least you're attempting it, though. So it
is.
That gives people hope that watching this, that know that if they have test anxiety, as you mentioned earlier, if they can go in there and fail it, but keep trying, because you're going to keep trying to do this because you want to be a business partner or a senior HR person. This is your certification to do this. So I think don't be ashamed of that. That's a good thing that you're teaching other military spouses, other people. You can fail, but just keep trying. And I like that.
Right. And it's a lot of it right now is I'm getting a lot of the support from my network. And that is also key too. Just networking is just the key. And I am a brick and mortar student. So it is very, very challenging with this pandemic. And I took a class at the University of University of North Carolina, Charlotte last fall. And that was great.
49ers.
It is. I went in, I did my time in the study sessions, and I almost passed it. Now I'm with a virtual study group, another type of network. I have in my study group, I have people in Colorado. I have a study partner in Philadelphia. I have a study partner in Texas. We're all over. And just to get that feedback, that network in bouncing off, trying to understand the different terminologies of the professional field. And knowledge is key. And I guess if you know how to use your resources to get that knowledge, it definitely helps.
But years ago, you probably got your certification originally, right?
I did. Back in 2006, I did have my professional and human resources certification. I did have my PHR. I will have to say I did not renew it. A lot of things came into play, and a lot of that had to do with my family. I was also a full-time worker. I worked full-time, but I also took care part-time of my grandfather. So daytime, I was at work. As soon as I got home, I put on the caregiver mode, and I started caring for my 85-year-old grandfather, and until he had passed away.
Sorry to hear about that. And that's important because people don't do that enough. So you took care of your grandfather in Hawaii. You say Hawaii a lot better than I say Hawaii. Yours sounds much better.
It's, and a lot of people, when I say I'm from Hawaii, they have to ask me where.
Is that a smaller island? No.
Yes, and it's a pronunciation, and it's like with any language, you just have a pronunciation with it. Some people say Hawaii, some people say Hawaii. It's just a pronunciation. It's all the same.
So while you were in Jacksonville, you went through the Onward Opportunity course, right?
I did.
Tell us about that.
I was very fortunate to I guess stumble upon that program. I was in the first cohort number
Wow.
1. Yes.
Wow.
So I was in their pilot program, and it was awesome. I met Patty Piazza, who's like an awesome woman. And I got to know a lot of people with the program, Anthony Bush, Wendy Layton, and all those folks with Honor to Opportunity that started the program in Tri-Base Jax. And at that time, they did not offer the HR program. They only offered, yes, because it was a pilot program.
Okay.
They only offered a few of the IT tracks and a customer service certification. And it's just a certificate. So because I'm not an IT person, and I like to hire IT people, I really do.
They're important. We all need them.
Exactly. I am not an IT person myself. And so I took the customer service excellence certification, and that's what it was. But what I gained from that, not just the certificate of customer service, which everyone definitely needs that skill, is I've also got the connections, like I said, the networking that I gained in Jacksonville. And I also put a plug into my husband's ear. He wasn't retiring at that time. He was the one that told me about it. His ombudsman had given them the information at his at the command, and the command trickled it down. And I said, why not? Let me take a look into this. So I took it. I told him about it. I said, when you 18 months out or however it was, I said, why don't you sign up? And he contacted Anthony Bush, and he signed up for the cohort just before he got out.
Yeah, and that's important. So Onward Opportunity, for those that don't know, is a certification program through Syracuse University. They provide free training, free networking course, 3-day course normally. And once you go through their training for a certification that you qualified for, they'll give you a voucher to take a free test. Take the test, get it passed. Now, I know Rebecca Albano's on here. We went through the PHR together, the course O20. Mm-hmm. We have not yet taken the course because she's scared, I'm scared, whatever. We're going to get there eventually, right? So, Rebecca, I know you're watching. We'll get there eventually. She's still around here.
You can do it. You can do it. It is, the exam, it is a beast. And the reason why these test certifiers, I would say, create such an comprehensive exam, whether it be the PMP, the PHR, the SPHR, the GPHR, is because it's like an elite group is what I've heard it called. It's like the elite group of people with these initials. You it's not just you pay X amount of dollars to get these initials after your name.
I wish I could.
Right. I'll give you $500. Can I just get the initials? But they really want to make sure that when you speak of your profession, whether it be the HR or project management, when you speak of the profession, you have the knowledge. They want to make sure you know what you're talking about. I've been in HR for over 19 years, and there's always things that I can learn. There's always things to learn. There's always, changes in legislation. There's changes in laws. There's changes everywhere. There's technological advances, that change everything. And so it's always continual learning process.
I think for the military, the transition, I think one of our things is we don't know the law so much because we're governed by law. So we don't know civilian law. So the course helps me because it opens my eyes to different things that I need to look into. And eventually I'll take the course too. So you have 19 years of experience in HR. You openly, honestly said you failed the test twice, we appreciate that. And I'm watching the news, the feed here, and they appreciate your honesty too, because it seems like some of us are failing it too, and they're not so proud.
It's okay.
Keep trying, though. Keep trying.
I've cried, though. Believe me, I have cried. I've cried in my car. As soon as they took the test, I walk out with, you feel like, you're in the cone of shame, and you're just walking out. But you stop, and you you kind of pick yourself up again. And I know a lot of military spouses and a lot of military personnel, they've had their setbacks.
Yep.
They've had a lot of setbacks. That's all it is. It's just a setback. You just got to push through, keep on going.
So do you want to talk about your military transition and how that went?
Yes. Honestly, I think I'm still in transition.
You personally are, yes.
So my husband, he has had opportunity, excuse me, I'm stumbling on my words, opportunity to start a career with a company that has a training type of program specifically for veterans. And so he's in his transition program right now. He's in a training transition program with the company he's at. And until he lands that you're a permanent, partner in this, in this company, you're a permanent member of this company, we're still in transition. And so his transition started, I would say it honestly started when we met. Because of my HR background, he asked me, we actually did a mock interview, just he and I. And
met. And
we were dating. And he was curious about getting out because at that time, I think he was in his 12-year mark. So he's over the hump. He's like, I think I want to get out. So I said, okay, what job you want to look at? So he looked at a job and I looked at the job description. I said, okay, let's do a mock interview. So we did a mock interview just in conversation on the sofa. And he was like, you're mean.
Well, you're HR, you're supposed to be mean, right?
And I said, yes, exactly. I said, I to be honest, I said, these are the questions that they might ask you. I said, you just have to be able you have to have your head held up high and know what you're talking about and go in. My transition, and I truly believe that spouses transition just as much as the military personnel. The service members transitions, the spouses transition. I've known spouses who've been spouses since their service member became a service member.
For 20 plus years, yeah.
Exactly. And although mine has only been 7, I've known service members, that's a family that you're transitioning out of. And that can be rough. It can be rough emotionally. It can be rough physically because, of course, you're moving. For us, we moved 3 times since he got out. So that's a little challenge in and of itself.
You're not used to that, are you?
I still have boxes, as you can see behind me. I have boxes here.
I didn't want to bring it up. I'm glad you did too, because I got boxes too, and it's a military thing, I guess.
Right, and in transition, it's you continue those networks, the networks that you gained as a service member or as a active duty military spouse. Continue with those networks. I still connect with my friends and my coworkers, my old bosses in Hawaii, especially since they had the hurricane coming through last week or the week before. I just want to make sure they're safe. I connect with them just a little bit here and there. Just keep those connections because, you never know where you will be 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Yes.
You end up in the same city. And you meet those connections, you continue to build those relationships and maintain those relationships. I know some people have 1,000 connections on LinkedIn. I know it's hard to have 1,000 friends, but think of it. If you're at a company and you're a company and you have a warehouse full, you have at least about 800 personnel in the warehouse. You'll get to know those 800 people real quick.
Yes, you will.
So it's just a conversation a day, a message every day. That's what I'm trying to do. I am trying to be more engaged on my LinkedIn. I'm rarely on my Facebook. I'm only on my Facebook page for my study group people because that's where my
it's
HR
required for the
right. That's what I'm on Facebook. But other than that, I'm trying to be more engaged with my LinkedIn folks because they speak the professionalese, I guess you could say. They speak the same lingo. Same with military veterans. They speak the same language. And when my husband got into his career right now, in the introductory, the first 2 weeks, he was so happy that he could speak with other veterans, whether it be Navy, Army, Air Force. They speak the same language.
Pretty much the same thing is.
Right. So it's a lot easier. So the transition, I think, for me, and I have 2 young kids in addition to that. So the transition for me is making sure that my kids know that we're still here as mom and dad. for the
True.
kids. Even though we've been moving so many times, it has been rough on them, but we just have to make sure, like with any family, make sure your roots are grounded wherever you go.
So a question came through and asked if we coordinated our shirts today. So we didn't. We're Red Wednesday, I guess. It's not Friday,
Right.
but Wednesday. But if you do want to get a kind of a HireMilitary shirt, I'll drop the link in the comments for you. We have both HireMilitary shirts and HireMilitary spouses shirts. Both shirts, True Patriot. They do our shirts for us, and they're a phenomenal company. So as you transition, I know when you retire, you have the military spouses have to either decline SBP or accept SBP, Survivor Benefits Plan. So do you mind talking about that and what you choose and why?
Sure. And I guess I'll go back to, the TGPS, or formerly known as TAP.
Yep.
I actually attended the week-long session with my husband.
Well, you're HR, you should.
And I met someone there. Actually, I met Bruce Thompson there, and
Bruce Thompson, phenomenal guy down in Jacksonville.
And he was pleasantly surprised. He's like, I don't see very many spouses attend these, but it's just as important, because it's the rest of your life. A lot of the information that they talk about in the TGPS class is, your benefits, your veterans benefits, what to do and things of that sort. And so I attended because I'd like to know. I don't want to say I'm well versed, but I do have quite a bit of knowledge in the benefit side, especially being in HR. And so, my husband and I, we did take a look at our benefits. We looked at, and it can be costly. We understand, the amount of insurance that you get, it's costly, but you think about it in the long run.
Yes.
And you think about the what ifs. It's like with any insurance. You have car insurance. You buy car insurance. You buy full coverage car insurance, and you're paying out of your pocket. But then you're like, if you get into an accident or if something happens, you're covered. You don't have to worry about that. Right. And so it's like with anything, you really have to look at not necessarily how much you have to pay now, because it's a lot of money. It can be a lot of money, but I honestly am a true believer in benefits. Whatever benefit is offered, take it. That's what I do,
But do your research first, because SBP may be good for some, not good for all, but it's still available.
Exactly.
So check it out. So did you choose SBP, or did you go life insurance, or both?
We did both. Both. Yeah, we did both. And in addition to that, we have separate civilian life insurances as well. So as far as the SBP and the life insurance, we chose both because we never know. Again, like I said, we have two young kids. We have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. So definitely for us in our family situation right now, we want to make sure, or he definitely wants to make sure, that we are covered, in the event something happens. And we definitely took a look at that. And like I said, we researched it, we looked at all the pros and cons. I mean, to a point where my husband is very great. He researches things to the ground, to the ground. I mean, to a point where, in his head, he has the pros and cons. I have a piece of paper, the pros and cons, I have to list it out, because again, because you have to make the decision at the time of separation, there's no going back.
That's true. So there's a question from Joseph Motorholt. I hope I got your name right, Joseph. His question is, how do you say that you're a military spouse? He finds it hard to write it without being overlooked, as he's not a traditional spouse. So for you on your profile, you don't mind putting military spouse, but some people actually hide that. Mm-hmm. Why do you choose to do what you do?
At first I hid it because I did not want to get that. For me, it was a personal thing. I wanted to get there on my own merit.
Understandable.
I know there's a lot of benefits to being a military spouse, and a lot of people say use that benefit, which is great. It's great. But I thought, let me see if I want to see where I can go. And the people that I have spoke with, of course, are veteran friendly employers. They say, put military spouse, because knowing that you're a military spouse, they know that you are flexible. They know that you are resilient. They know that you basically can pick up and go on a fly.
That's
you know,
true.
they know being a military spouse has a lot of positives when you're working in a company. I didn't really know that until we were almost getting out, because like I said, we only PCS'd once. When he was active in the beginning of our relationship, I was at home. So I had my home. It was like my hometown. This is my city. That's where I lived.
That's
and
right.
That's what it was. I don't mind putting military spouse, but I also would agree to having put your skill set on there, because like for me, I think I have people person or something that to that effect on my profile, but I also have military spouse. I have that. So I'm not afraid to show it.
But don't lead with it. Lead with your skill set, where you're good at, and then as a caveat, military spouse or veteran in veterans cases. So lead with your skill set and go on for that. Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
That's why I think on my headline, I think military spouse is like the end of my headline.
I'll recommend the same thing. Lead with that and not. So what kind of tips or advice could you give a military spouse that will be transitioning soon with their family?
I would say, and you've probably heard this a lot, is research where you folks want to go, where you're going to go. Definitely it's a big decision for the service member when they leave too. The decision for my husband, and I told him this, is because he asked, where do we want to be when he retires? That was a big question. Where do we want to go? And I said, well, I would like to stay in Florida. But I also told him that we will go wherever you can find work, because his military career, it was a lot of guns and a lot of missiles. And he didn't want to be a contractor. He knew what he didn't want.
Yes.
And so translating that into the civilian sector was a little challenging for him. So I said, we will go wherever you go. I said, fortunately, I have the background of HR, where there's HR almost everywhere.
Just about everywhere. Even remote these days.
Exactly. So I said, it'll be a challenge for me to get a job, and I'm okay with that. So we definitely had a conversation. So have conversations, have open communication with your family. If you have older kids, we even talked with our 5-year-old last year when he was 4. We're like, this is what's happening. Or, we wanted him to be involved, because we didn't want the tension. We didn't want, of course, a crying kid.
Nobody wants that.
Exactly. But I guess have the open conversations and research what you want to do, where you want to go. Fortunately, you have more of a leeway when you are transitioning, whether it being just ending your contract or going in for retirement. You have time to think about. It's not like a layoff where you have 60 days, or they're going to terminate you today and you got to go. Yes. You have the benefit of time. I would say use that time to find out where you want to go. What do you want to do? If you're not sure, talk to your network, talk to your contacts.
Listen, you've said network. You've said network at least 10 times now. You must be a true believer in networking.
I am. And I am now getting in line with the virtual networking.
Welcome.
Thank you. Because I'm a people person. I am in human resources, and my network is face to face. Always. It's always been face to face. I always, will be up in your face, handshaking, eye to eye contact.
Up in your face in a good way.
Right. Exactly. And this virtual networking is very different for me. It is very, very different for me. And I can see a lot of people, they're very shy about virtually networking, because they have this fear or stigma of, I don't know who you are. I don't know if that's your real picture.
And I want to stop you right there real fast. So Karen and I met this morning, basically. So I got a resume, I think it was last week, and I was still working on a process. So I posted a resume this morning. And if you missed it, we'll make sure our names are linked in the post when this is done. Go check her resume out today. And we met just this morning. So I posted her resume for her. I contacted her, said, it's been posted. Let's connect and just connect with the people I mentioned in the post. And she's had an incredibly busy day. I'm sorry I took away from your study time, but networking, like you said, is important. So
Yes.
so those that missed the first part of it, how'd that post go today for you networking wise? And do you think it's important to get out there more often?
Oh my goodness. I have gone, and the great thing about the post is I've gotten a lot of Charlotte connects.
That's good.
Yes. Because, my virtual
Hashtag
networking.
work.
Yes. My virtual networking has gone, my Florida contacts or some military contacts or my HR contacts, but they've been outside of North Carolina.
Yep.
Or if they're in North Carolina, they're like in Wilmington or Raleigh or Fayetteville. I've gotten some really great Charlotte contacts that I would definitely keep up with and engage with them because I'm kind of growing my own Charlotte family now that I'm here, and that's what I think. I think it's great, and for me, even if I don't get a job, I'm looking for a job. Even if I don't get a job from these contacts, I have the relationships that I can build, and I support any and all HR folks that's continuously working during this pandemic because it's a burden. It is I don't want to say burden. That's not a right term. I apologize. But it is challenging. It is very challenging to be in HR during this pandemic right now. And I've reached out to some of my HR peoples that are still working, and I say, hey, I'm here for you. If you need an ear, if you need to drink a glass of wine over Zoom, I am here because it's challenging. It is a challenge, but I'm glad to have met some great Charlotte connections. Thank you.
And there's a bunch of Fortune 500 companies in Charlotte, like Bank of America, Duke Energy. These are huge companies, and I'm sure they have an HR department somewhere, right? maybe multiple. So we'll keep connecting you with those individuals because it's important. Now, speaking of your resume, it looked pretty good.
Thank you.
Did you do it yourself?
No, I had help.
Tell the folks who helped you with your resume.
To be honest, the work I did myself. I did do everything that I wrote in the resume. So I did the work. Those are not just words.
No falsehoods here, right?
There are no falsehoods. Everything that is in the resume is everything that I have done in my career to make it nice and snazzy and stand out as much as it can. I will have to say my career transition specialist, Kelsey, at Hire Heroes USA. She is awesome. She is patient. She's been patient with me when I'm applying to jobs. She's a great person to kind of bounce off some of my ideas when I'm talking about, I'm interested in this company. I've LinkedIn stalked this person or this company. I need some help. How can I do this? So I give her like my versions of my cover letter, my versions of my resume, and she's awesome. She's great, and she's very patient, and I love her.
So if you're a transition military spouse, take your resume, go get assistance through Hire Heroes USA or the USO Pathfinder program. They do phenomenal work with resumes. You can pay for it yourself. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you're in a time crunch, if you want to pay for it, there are services out there. But Hire Heroes USA is free, right?
Mm-hmm. It is free. Free. Everybody's free.
And it's working. So
it is.
So Karen wants to work in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, the Queen City, as they say. And if you're an employer watching this, whether they're now live or later on, reach out to Karen because she's got I'm not going to say 2 decades of experience. I'll say 18 years of experience in the HR realm. So from generalists, compensation, all that great stuff, she can be a great HR business partner. And I'm sure Chris Thorne is watching this right now. He's a big HR guy. He's a SHRM guy. So Karen, if I were you, I would recommend you join the SHRM chapter in Charlotte because that's going to be a huge networking tool for you as well.
Will do. Yes.
Well, any last words you want to leave us with as you depart today and get back to studying?
No, I think again, the connections network and just much appreciation. As they say in the Highlands, much mahalo.
Mahalo.
Aha. But I really, really thank everything that you, I mean, the HireMilitary is great as well. You know, I can't say that enough. I know not just me that has benefited from knowing veteran service organizations like yourself, but my husband, who is the veteran. You know, I always say I'm the tag along. You know,
we don't like that. And you know why we don't like that? Because we have our spouses too. We know how important they are. We're not going to leave you guys out.
Right. So like I told my husband, it's like, I will go wherever you need to find work. And that's the conversation we've had. And we will still have the conversation until he really lands that job at the company after he's done with his training. But I just want to say thank you so much. And for those of you military spouses out there, definitely send your email. Do those 8 steps that I remember those 8 steps.
It keeps me organized. It does.
Well, my email is step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yes, that helps me out a lot. My thought process is so different.
Do those 8 steps, and it's simple 8 steps. Connect with Matt, and this is awesome. Thank you so very
Good deal.
much.
So I come to Charlotte once every 3 months, so maybe we'll sit down and have a coffee one time, and we'll meet face to face, Karen, because
Definitely.
you are HR face to face, right?
Yes. I know this pandemic is killing me.
I know. Well, Karen, thank you very much for joining us today. And every Wednesday we're here to military spouse if they want to. So I met Karen today. I asked her to come on. She goes, I'm down. Let's do this. So we're on today. So again, next Wednesday I'll be on again at 4 p.m. East time, 1 p.m. Pacific time. We'll get it out there. But Karen, thank you very much, and we'll see everybody soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.